By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
I'm Carol from Sunbury, Ohio.
I'm a Republican, but I don't care who does the job as long as the job gets done. That's why I like Sherrod Brown. He stood up to both parties on China and worked with Republicans to fight fentanyl because Sherrod fights for Ohio. That's leadership.
Paid for by friends of Sherrod Brown.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very, very late edition of this week's Anfield Index Under Pressure podcast. My name's Dan Kennett, and this is the fourth time of asking this week. It's every night this week apart from the Bologna match. We've tried to do this pod, and unfortunately, real life has got in the way every time. So, Hamzah, you have the best excuse. You are actually poorly, and you were on duty for a couple of the nights as well, weren't you? So, which game was your one this week?
I was at Bournemouth Southampton on Monday. I think that's why I am ill. I got back at 3:30 in the morning and I've been struggling since.
Oh,
but apologies to listeners in all seriousness. Sorry we couldn't get this out a bit earlier.
Yeah, but it allowed you to continue on all your Iriola chat on the last pod. So, was it a good game?
The weird thing about Southampton, I guess, when we'll see this when we play them, I guess, is that they stick to their tactics, and
yeah.
I don't really think that system they've got is quite appropriate for the players that they've got. But that's a wider discussion about what managers should be doing with players and styles.
I think the term I would use for Southampton is cannon fodder.
Yeah. I think at the moment, if they keep playing like that, they might have some unwanted records that they begin to break.
Yeah. And he's broadcasting live from his tropical island paradise. He's only been there a month, but he's already causing diplomatic incidents. It's Dr. Phil Barter. Evening, Phil.
How we doing, mate? All right.
So you've managed to secure the return of Mauritian sovereign territory. Well done, mate. At the Chagos Islands.
Apparently so. And then there's an elections coming on the 10th of November. So, it's all go here. All go
Are you running?
No, I'm not. No.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
And he's here as well. It's Mr. Simon Brundish. Evening, Si.
Evening, boys.
Technical issues for you. That's the worst excuse of the lot.
Yeah. iOS 18.
Yeah. Anyway, it's bad, is it?
It bricked my phone, so I had to roll it back.
Nice. But we are not going to be doing a normal thing because it's so long since the last time we had to nominally cover West Ham and Wolves, and then we'll focus a little bit more on Bologna. But we'll take it more of an overview and discussion points perspective on this one. And so there's only two things I want to talk about with West Ham, Si, and one of them I want to. It's because it's in many ways, in some Liverpool fans, this is one of the biggest games of the whole season. The Carabao Cup first round team selection. It's such a talk. So much stuff gets expended amongst Liverpool fans discussing the Carabao Cup early round. So we went with basically the reserve senior squad.
Yeah, we now have two players for each position, don't we? And there's nobody injured. Harvey's the exception.
Yeah.
So we had 10 changes, and just lads, mostly who have played a little bit, but all senior internationals. A little bit unlike last year at the same stage, we also had 10 changes, but at that point we had a couple of injuries, so there was a couple more younger players that kind of came in, and then it was utilised a tiny bit more with youth players for subs and that kind of stuff. But I think the last 3 years as Liverpool, we have gone way too strong, way too early. And the excuse is always Premier League opposition. We have been, if you look, we've had 16 draws in the last 20 years, something like that. We have 16 draws against Premier League opposition in the first round, and the next highest was 12, I think.
Mm.
So we just went strong, and I can understand at this point. I hate it. I think we should sack it off, and we should have been slightly rotating elsewhere. But I can see how people can justify still utilising first team players in this game.
So, most important thing is the game happened. We made 10 changes, but then we made less changes against Wolves and less changes against Bologna. So, what are you seeing in the early weeks of the season in terms of our selections? And how do you think this is? What do you think this is going to mean over the long haul in the season? And the other thing I obviously want you to bring in is our continuing good news story with injuries.
So if you take out the West Ham game, we average one change per game
in the league. Yeah, in all comps. Yeah.
In the league and Champions League, we average one change per game in the league and Champions League.
Right.
But then we had 9 to go to begin the West Ham game, and then 10 to begin Wolves. But in fact, we had 2 between Wolves and Bournemouth, and one of which was Ali coming back in because of injury. So we really had one choice, and that was Darwin and Diogo, which is a much of a muchness anyway. Some people have favourites here or there, but it's inarguable that they're both absolute first team players. We're seeing signs of significantly less rotation. The lowest, so that's one rotation per game, and the lowest of any 8-game period under Klopp was 2.6.
Wow. That's significant. But at the same time, we have got less injuries, fewer injuries. We've got a bigger squad, bigger first-team squad, more senior players, and we've got fewer injuries at any point in the last 8 years. Is that right?
Yeah. At this point, we've never had anywhere this close still.
Do you want to just put some context? Have you got some context on the injury numbers for us, Say? Because that's one thing people always love to talk about.
We do, but I reckon my feeling is that this is definitely a longer chat to contextualise for next week.
Okay, we'll do an international break.
Yeah, so we've got that block, haven't we? This is the end of the second block.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can come back to it then. The other thing I wanted to ask everybody on this one, because I went to the West Ham game. It was pretty good fun. I really enjoyed myself overall. But one thing I was sitting there in the crowd as a fan was thinking, this is a team without Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate. It doesn't happen very often. And all of a sudden, we didn't actually look that secure from defensive set plays. And West Ham ended up with 8 shots, all lowish value, but 8 shots from defensive from their set plays in the match. And obviously, they scored a goal from a set play situation which induced panic and stuff. And I don't know if it came, Barts, when you you didn't watch this one, did you?
I watched it on replay. I didn't watch it a lot. No.
What did you think about it? Because my question is to everybody is that, okay, so if these two don't play, right, who are our 3 best tenors of the ball in the 11? And are any of them close to what you would call somebody who's dominant in the air?
It's a good point. I have to go back and look at the aerial weights, but I think we've also changed system this year, haven't we? We've basically let BVD and Konate just head the ball clear. Like it's no longer you take this zone, you take this zone. It's a bit more like you just head the ball clear. So you need a more dominant centre half to do that role in a defensive setup, I would perceive. Versus if you're good at marking, you can be like a slightly lower down. But Kwanzaa and Joe are both. I mean, Joe's improved his aerial ability. I remember last season, but Kwanzaa's always been a lower sort of high 60s, something like that. So that's not his strength. Well, he's not his strength yet. He's a kid. And then you've got a 6 in front who's Endo's good in the air, but he's still short. So he's probably going to get. He's arguably going to get dominated by a side who lines up with a taller units in those areas.
West Ham are one of the better set play teams in the Premier League. They're one of the bigger teams. Yeah,
they would have targeted those areas. So I think that's one of Grab's advantages of playing the 6 for us, is he does have that aerial height. His dual rate's been pretty good over the last few games. At the weekend he dipped off a little bit. No, the weekend was decent. Sorry, Wolves games mixed up. But so I think with those 3 you are very, very strong. But you're right, if you take those 3 out of the side, you lose height in key areas, and I don't know. I'm struggling to find out who would be the next best there, really, I have to say. Endo probably is, but I don't think he's going to compete against the big boys in the league. He's not
Jota, I think.
In the thing. Josh is pretty high, isn't he, Hamzah?
5'9" Diogo is our most dominant head of the ball.
Yeah.
I know he is good in the air for his height, that's for sure, isn't he? But what did you
think? You're over a set half.
Yeah.
In the box.
What did you think, Hamzah? Watching it as a fan, I mean, obviously it's a little bit more nervy in the stadium potentially. What did you think? Did you think we looked shaky?
A little bit. I agree with Barts in that. I think we are just a bit short physically in that department. We already spoken before about how you can't play McAllister and Elliott together in midfield, but there's not too much you can learn from our aerial stats this season just because the volume's quite low. So, for example, Grabs contested 7, won 5, lost 2, but again, that's just 7 in 6 matches. And then likewise, McAllister. So I was like, you can't really read too much into these yet.
Yeah.
So as far as this season's concerned, there's not too much you can read into them. Just check them through.
I would agree with you actually. Based on what you said, I think in that team, that 11, the best head of the ball would be Jota, right? Nunes was playing, and Gakpo was playing, and Kwanzaa. But I wouldn't call. I mean, Jarrell. I mean, I'm not sure he's that dominant yet, but he's only quite young. And Nunes, we all know that Nunes and Gakpo aren't that good on the defensive set play side of things, even though they're quite tall.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a legacy of Matip leaving as well. Yes. They didn't play much last season.
And Fabinho.
Yeah, it was a really, it was a strong quality of his. If you put the ball in behind, because he was quick and strong and Van Dijk were quick and strong, teams just really, but they wouldn't bother if they did. They quickly learned it wasn't a fruitful sort of tactic for them. And Gomez last season, I think we may have discussed this last season. His figures were massaged a bit by him playing as fullback. So I think he was. That's why he finished the season with 75.6 aerial dual win rate. And,
he didn't play a single minute at centre back last year, did he, in the Premier League?
No, and I'm just checking his career rate.
40. He's not very good.
So in all the seasons previous to last season, the highest he ever got was 62.5, 21-20. Oh, actually, in that season he only played 4 matches. So
I have him in games where he played centre back. It's at 48%.
Oh wow!
He's always been shit. He's always been shit. Kwanzaa's 60%.
That's the next area to recruit in, I guess, to get a big.
Somebody else who you would call as say is dominant in the air. Yeah.
But you have to look at Ibu is playing out on his skis this season. He is way higher than his career.
He's the best in the league. He's the best in the Premier League so far. 26 out of 30. It's even that, which is astonishing.
Yeah, is that a function of opportunity?
Maybe.
Or sample size. His career, his career is like 72, 73%, and that's going to be inflated by the league he played in.
Yeah.
So
I do think he is good in the air, though. Maybe not quite Joel Matip good yet, but I do think he is good.
So why hasn't he been dominant in the past?
Yeah, that's a fair question. And why hasn't he scored more set-piece goals in the past? But yeah.
Sure. I just think from an aerial duels perspective, physically, he should have been more dominant. If he hasn't, it's because he didn't try.
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely true.
But the upside of that is he could be inspired to try harder. Maybe that's what's happening this season, and now we're seeing his actual potential of aerial duels. I would worry that maybe he backed off a little bit because injuries and the actual contact. I don't know, and maybe it's one thing's going to lead to another thing. But he looks like Virgil right now, and he's never shown that in the past.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is the first time he's really making that leap. But I just wrap it all up. I think this is where Virgil is the comfort blanket. He is the security blanket and I think if he wasn't in the team again for an extended, this would be the number one thing as a team that we would miss him on defensive set plays. Along with the great pass and the attacking threat and the great distribution and the fantastic pace and the organisation and the leadership, but I think the number one would be defensive set plays.
Maybe can we because we're going to ramble on about 3 boring games. I think about this quite a lot at the moment. There's a moment in every game, and it happened in both of these games, where I was calmed by something, by an attacking phase for the opposition that happened, and then part of my brain goes, "Oh, it's Ali," and it just goes to nothing because I lived for 44 years of my life with not Alisson in goal, and any other goalkeeper in the world causes us to concede way more than 2 goals this season. And the consequences of early in both matches, there were real big opportunities for the opposition that Ali just,
routine.
Routinely, calmly dealt with. If either of those things happened, potentially we just don't win because the game plays so differently, both in terms of a scoreline, but mentally. It changes the whole dynamic of a game just because you remember how, even if it doesn't go in, when Mignolet, who we used to lambast for being terrible, but he was probably he went through periods of above average. He would still throw like a stupid error in, and that's how all goalies are. It's not Mignolet. It's like all of the goalies in my life in between Clements and Alisson. And if you watch all of the goalies in every other team, even the brilliant ones, you'll see like a brilliant period from Emi Martinez or like absurd stats from Onana. Both of them just do stupid stuff regularly.
Yeah.
So
that's a fair point. Ali wasn't in. He's the other security blanket, and he wasn't in this game either. So, no Ali, no Verge. Yeah. Big team you're up against. Yeah. But we won. And we won handsomely. And the only other thing, because it's a stats show, I just want to want to celebrate Cody Gakpo's stats line in this game because it was astonishingly good. But just purely from a stats perspective, he had 30 out of 32 passing, 94%. 3 chances created, 1 big chance created, 6 shots, 4 out of 5 on target with 2 goals, 0.65 expected goals and 0.21 expected assists. I mean, just that's elite Sadio Mane levels. So, I mean, long may it continue from Cody. That's all I will say there. So, and does anybody else have anything burning to say on West Ham United? Or shall we move on?
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Can I just say something about Gakpo?
Yeah.
I'm probably his biggest skeptic on here. So I see something this season that I'd not seen before. And in 3 games, I've seen him pose actual threat. Threat in a way the opposition are scared.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
And it changes, it goes back to that dynamic thing. Psychologically, it changes everything because you now have actual threats on both wings.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just has significant consequences. And we've had and in large part, Darwin, no matter what, still terrifies people. But there have been periods where Jota's played, and people aren't worried about him. He just will. He's not going to do anything to cause them terror. But once somebody else has done something terrifying, he'll tap it in.
Yeah.
For the large part, he's probably done 5 brilliant things for Liverpool in the last year, and he looks like much more of a threat than he did previously. But I'm saying in the past.
So this has been a discussion on the Under Pressure Discord chat, actually, say. To what extent do you think the Gakpo stuff is purely him down to saying, right, you're a left winger, that's it. You're my left. You're one of my in the rotation to be left wing in this team. That's it.
I think people read too
rather than being more of a jack of all trades in midfield, in centre forwards, in left wing, whatever.
My feeling is that if you remember back, this is going way too long. Quickly, coaches that had worked with him suggested that he was beginning to play as an 8. We were gonna convert him into an attacking.
Yeah.
And then we tried to convert him because we're way too smart into a false 9, into replacing Bobby because he had some of the underlying physical factors that Bobby did. I think we just confused him. And at the same time as confused him, we probably made him feel less than by saying you aren't good enough at the things you think you're good at, but you are more than good enough at the functional things that help our system work. So we want you to sacrifice you being the best player on the pitch, which he was used to for his whole career, to sacrifice yourself for the team. And I think it's a combination of those two things, probably. Way more than position. I think it's role rather than the angle of the pitch that he's playing. He's seeing the game from. And this coach comes in and basically goes, I love you. You're Dutch. Like, he's a Dutch hero. And genuinely for Holland, he's been brilliant.
Yeah.
And so I think he expects brilliance from him, and he aspires to moments of brilliance. And that's not what we saw from him. And we always we talked about him as a team first guy, sacrifice guy. And maybe he doesn't see himself as a sacrifice guy. And he was made to.
Out of necessity, yeah. Yeah. Really interesting stuff, so really interesting stuff. Now let's move on to Wolves. Now, Barts, after this game, there there was a very weird mood in the fan base of a lot of unhappiness, a lot of grumpiness about this. How did you see the performance with Wolves? What did you like and what didn't you like?
It's a weird one, isn't it? I think you posted the shot stuff, and I looked at it afterwards. Their biggest amount of XG was from the goal, like 0.34 out of whatever up. I said put 0.57 up as a game, and 0.34 of that, or 0.38, was the goal.
Yeah,
I saw them on a rewatch after the game straight away. Yeah, I'll probably be frustrated, but I think some of that's clouded in the way the pattern. Like Si talks about the pattern and rhythm of the game, and I think that sometimes clouds how you come away from that. You know, giving up a city goal away at Wolves brings back probably memories we all don't want to relive of Matip OG and other sort of stuff going on under the Klopp era. So, but actually, when you rewatch it, and that's the importance for me of why we always try and rewatch a game, is they largely had chances outside the box in areas that we let them be in, and yes, the opportunity they scored from was largely, I thought, the only real opportunity they got in the box from.
And they didn't have a shot in the penalty area between the 6-yard box. They only had one shot, and that was the one we gave them.
That was the one we gave, and that was largely, yes, our players made. I think we had structural errors for them to actually make the ball into the box in the first place, because it's one of the few times Grav wasn't in the area he was supposed to be defensively, because he was off busy chasing the fullback, a high press. Whereas if he just stayed in the area, that pass wouldn't have gone straight through that zone. And then having got to that area, we made a series of errors which they ended up with tapping. And then even then, if you watch the replay, Ali very nearly saves it.
Yeah.
Going back to Ty's point about Ali being brilliant. So
yeah, he was literally a fingertip away from getting on the ball, wasn't he?
Putting that around the corner. So and then you see the power of us. We went straight back up the other end and got a penalty. I mean, it's sort of. So I don't get the negativity really. I think there's something in the fact that people thought we're going to 20th in the league and we should roll these over, but we all know that. I lost his track of his name in charge.
Harry O'Neill.
Yeah, he sets his sides up very effectively.
Yeah.
And I personally think they're better than 20th in the league. I really do.
Yeah.
I think
he beat us a couple of seasons ago with Bum, didn't he? Harry O'Neill.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of mix in that. And our fan base is weird at the moment, though. Like, if you look at, like, we talk about garbage time all the time on here. Again, they had some shots in that period of time which inflated their figures. But generally speaking, if you look at the key metrics, the conversion of threat to XG was at 250% for the game. Our pass success was high. Our shots in the box, you've already said, was better than theirs by a long way. Field tilt was nearly 60-40. It just, on target shots 6-3. You just think, if you look at the underlying numbers for the game, I don't understand I don't really get where the disappointment was, because I think there's also some of that. We said it about 2 pods ago about fighting the last war, right?
Yeah.
We are not the side that is going to go there and pile on goals. This is a team, goes there, gets the win, shuts it down, goes home. That is what we're going to do.
Although this is the first game we've really had where we didn't get anything to garbage time. We didn't get to +2, 2 goals up, and you could feel the difference.
It's a different mindset to this team. And even big chances 3-1, and we gave them their big chance. So it's not a. Mo misses an open goal just after half time. How many times are we going to say that? I know it's difficult to understand. There were several opportunities where if things had gone slightly better, I slightly missed it better, we'd have been 2-3 up before we'd even given them a chance.
And then it is +2, and then we are garbage time again.
And then it's in garbage. We could have been garbage time for 50 minutes. So I just think the series of game and events are key. Yes, that first period of time. We've been slow start all season. I think the PPDA chart, if you look at that in the stats pack, it's our worst period is the first 5-10 minutes. We let them have too many passes before we put defensive action in. And they did put a few crosses in our box around that time. But I don't think at any point was I concerned, because Ali pulls off, makes the save look routine. We steady the ship a bit. And then the next sort of periods up to half time and afterwards, you just look at the stats breaking down. We're dominant in those times. So I think there's a perception thing there, and I think people get overly worked up with what they perceive to be threat. But actually, if you look at where the shot is taken from, we allow them to take the shot, I don't think it is direct.
Because even Wolves' XT was low, even if you exclude the shots, right? So their
APP was 0.74.
Yeah,
like, that's
really good. That's really good. Yeah,
it's really good. Like as I said to you before, the conversion rate you want to look at is if it gets towards 150 EPV to XG, that's where we generally can see they got nowhere near that.
Yeah. So it's not that they weren't having good shots; they weren't getting into good positions either. So yeah,
I thought we made them play largely where we wanted to, and then we took our time and we played where we wanted to play. And actually, you noted, as we'll come on to Bologna, about the pass map.
Yeah.
The pass map for Wolves is very similar to Bologna, apart from this link with the 9 in this game.
Yeah.
So the 2 wingers are really high, and the 9 drops in to form almost a double 10 with Dom on the average position. Yeah. That's the thing. There's similarities with a lot of our away games, the trends that are interesting. So we spend away from home, our average pass length is between 0 and 5 has been dominant percentage, and it's 3 to 2 passes is our average chain length away from home. At home, we go towards the 5 to 10 passes per chain as a dominant amount of our passes. So I think we're starting to see a distinct pattern of our going away from home versus being at home. So this is the third game. Yeah, this pattern has started to generate as we go forward. So yeah, there were things I thought that were bang in line what we were doing away from home. I just think it got wrapped up in a bit of a madness from Kanata at the back.
Yeah. Hamzah, you always take the considered view on these things. Same question to you. What did you think of the whole thing about the Wolves game?
There are a few good chances. There's a Szoboszlai one that probably should have been scored.
Yeah.
There are a number of breaks, I think, that could have been handled better. I think Salah just made the wrong decision or didn't quite get the pass right. There was one opportunity for Wolves that should have gone the other way. I think Van Dijk might have been a second phase set piece, and Van Dijk was up pressing, and Wolves managed to transition, and Trent and Kanata were the last 2 players back, and Kanata made the tackle, but had the Wolves attack eventually squared the ball to Wang on the far side, he would have actually been free for a good opportunity because Szoboszlai had left him. But other than that, there wasn't too much that was given away. So I think it was fairly comfortable. Could have been handled a bit better in terms of just clinical work and making the right decisions. But largely the process looks okay. It doesn't look amazing, but it looked good.
Yeah, we've struggled a lot over the last 2 years away from home in the Premier League. I mean, I don't think there's really any easy games away from home in the Premier League. Maybe we'll see about Southampton when we come to that one. But there
was one thing I did notice. I put this in my notes when I was watching the match. Just getting it up right now. Their 3-4-2-1 shape was a good way to get around the press, I thought, because they gave themselves one fewer player in build-up than you'd expect if a team is pressing them with a 4. They just went with a 3 and the goalkeeper. But they gave themselves extra players, the 2 wide players, and then the box, so the 2 centre midfielders, and then the 2 ahead of them, the 2 players ahead of them moved around a bit. And I thought that was a smart way to actually get around our press. And I think in the first
25
minutes,
20, yeah. When did Slot call over Szoboszlai for the chat while the game was going on, which was mad? The referee hadn't stopped it, and he calls him over for a good minute and talking tactics, right?
Yeah.
And then Dom kind of shuttles out more towards the right touchline in his role, doesn't he, in his zone?
Mm-hmm.
That was 20 minutes, maybe?
I think that's about right.
19 minutes, yeah.
But I think that would be the only sort of tactical question mark I'd have. I think, first of all, it would be a mark in the book of Kerry O'Neill first, because I thought it was a smart move, and then
good setup.
That it was ideally you want to resolve it a bit quicker than that, just given that the speed at which managers make changes now. So sometimes you'll resolve one, and within 5 minutes, the opposition managers then change.
I think 19 minutes is a pretty good reaction time. Are we expecting more? It's better than Eric Ten Hag, that's for sure.
But yeah, that was my reading at least.
Yeah. Overall, just bank the win, and nobody will talk about this game at the end of the season.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Si, last one to you, Wolves. Your general thoughts and anything you wanted to raise on Wolves.
I thought we were as controlled as it can be. I thought we were relatively efficient with penalty box touches, but we had the lowest percentage of touches in the box this season. I don't think we caused penalty box touches very effectively, but when we did, we were effective. Once we got in the box, we were effective at turning that into chances. I think we got a penalty, which was a little bit lucky, and we had a moment early in the game that, so in terms of momentum, it helped us turn the game around and win. And if Mo Salah had been Diogo Jota, we'd have had a penalty at 32 minutes and we'd have been 2-0 up. And the game changes completely. Had his arm bar to the floor, it would have been a penalty. But Mo doesn't get treated the same way as everybody else inside the box. So you get those moments. Thankfully, we got it. That's it. We're great that we have Ibu on his bi-yearly. Is that right?
This is the new normal side. Forget that. This is the new normal now. It's every other week.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But I want to say the only thing Jota did of note in this match was the cross for that goal. Woof. Everything else he did. I'm one of Jota's biggest fans. He was a pinball machine.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
A great workout deserves a great reward. Treat yourself right with new coconut smoothie bowls made with fresh fruit, purely Elizabeth granola, and now creamy coconut. You earned it. Grab a treat you can feel good about, only at Smoothie King.